Is inside the harbour waters, starting out from the South Mole end and finishing it off at the North Mole. First race out is for ladies crews, and they'll be competing for the Five Alive Challenge Cup. This is followed by the Guillem Challenge Cup for maiden crews, and finally the senior crews will take to the water and compete in the Grandy Challenge Cup. As usual on regatta days, there's a lot of atmosphere being generated in both Med and Calpe rowing clubs, and everybody's getting a little bit excited. Let's take a closer look at the crews in the harbour waters, and let's hope that we don't go overboard. And the reason we made that statement was because, as you can see, the waters were fairly choppy all afternoon and not ideal conditions for rowing at all. But nevertheless, all crews did put in their best, usually extremely hard effort. We've seen there the start of the first race for ladies for the Five Alive Cup. Med first crew furthest away from camera, with the Calpe ladies in the middle and Med second crew nearest to camera. Fairly close start at the beginning, with the Med ladies pulling away slightly. Eventually Med first ladies and the Calpe crew were to go away and contest the race, with the Med second crew falling behind. Med ladies then first crew took an early lead as they went into the detached mole, but getting away from there, the Calpe ladies improved their stroke rate. There was a much better stroke rate towards the end, and in the end they were deserved winners. In fact, Calpe turned the tables round on Med in Saturday's regatta, and Captain Leslie Gregg's prediction of the previous regatta, when they got beaten in the Saccarello Challenge Cup, proved to be fairly accurate, with their crews winning 2 out of the 3 races. You can see the Med ladies now, closest to camera. That was the Med second crew. Getting away now and into the North Mole. A better stroke rate from the Calpe ladies, and eventually coming good when it mattered, and taking it in the end with a time of 8 minutes 4 seconds from Calpe's first crew, that did a time of 8 minutes 9 seconds. And Calpe crew was E. Montado, S. Davidson, E. Sopardi, S. Gregg, and Cox K. Aquilina. Plenty of supporters there in the North Mole from both clubs. There's always a great atmosphere on regatta days, and it's not just families, lots of club members from both clubs, of course, and it is one of the most best supported sports from what I've seen in recent regattas. There's a lot of atmosphere there, people cheering on their respective crews. You're seeing the Calpe ladies now just coming to the finishing line. They'll be raising their arms in triumph in a moment. A very great success for them. They lost in the Saccarello Challenge Cup, but they got their sweet revenge this time round. There they are celebrating. There's a close-up of the crew, shattered but delighted with their win over their arch rivals. Med there taking defeat with some dignity, and the Med second crew as well. Conditions worsened for the second race for maiden crews, and we see them here now level with the detached mole. We weren't able to get so much footage from this race because conditions, as I said, did worsen. But nevertheless, Calpe broke away very early on, and there was not much of a contest. And eventually the Calpe crew won through with a time of 7 minutes 30 seconds. Charles Bonfante, Ben Lynch, Paul Gachet, Thomas Tagneto, and Dave Richardson Cox were the crews. See them there coming in and being cheered on by their supporters. On to the third race then, which was the closest of the 3. 1 Calpe crew and 2 Med crews. Med 1, Calpe in the middle, and Med 2. Again, Calpe and Med first crew broke away, and they were neck and neck for a great deal of the race. There seemed to be moments there where Calpe were going to pull it off and win all 3 races, but Med were determined not to let Calpe have a clean sweep of Saturday evening's regattas. Eventually they started pulling away, and they just managed to pip Calpe at the end, to the delight of their supporters. Med's winning crew on Banesto Med did a time of 6:14 to Calpe's 6 minutes 16 seconds. And the Banesto Med were crewed by T. Moreno, N. Viñales, L. Yates, J. Viñales, and Cox M. Hemming. There was some confusion as well as to the coverage of the race, claiming that Mr. Willie Santos' boat, the Maraita, was getting too close to the boats, Apologies are extended, but one must try and remember that we're only trying to give the best coverage possible to both Med and Calpe rowing clubs. There's the triumphant Med first crew, delighted with their win. I later spoke to two ladies that took part in the afternoon's regatta. Well, competitive ladies rowing has been going on now uninterruptedly for approximately the last 6 or 7 years. I've got a couple of the ladies that took part in this evening's regatta with me, one from each club. Christine Haviland from MRC and Sharon Davidson from the Calpe. First of all, I'd like to have a word with Christine. Commiserations on tonight's defeat. How long have you been rowing?
4 years now.
Yes. It's a very hard sport. Why do you do it? I mean, it's very tough. Wouldn't you like to do another sport?
It is very tough, but it's very enjoyable. You get a lot out of it at the end of the... When you do win regattas, you do get a lot of... It's a good accomplishment at the end of the day.
Don't go away. I'll just have a word with Sharon. Sharon, congratulations on tonight's great run. I thought it was a very good performance by your crew. How long have you been rowing competitively?
I've been rowing 1.5 years now.
And obviously you enjoy it a lot. Would you recommend it to other young girls to take it up as a sport?
It's a very demanding sport and it needs a lot of commitment, but it can be very rewarding at the end of it, especially after the races and you find that you've won. I recommend it to people who like teamwork. It can be very rewarding.
I'd like to ask you really to finish off with Christine. There's a great rivalry between both Med and Calpe rowing clubs, especially amongst the men. Is your rivalry as keen or is it worse? What would you say, Christine?
I believe that between women, I think we take it not as seriously as the men would. We just take it with a pinch of salt, either we win or lose, but we don't take it as seriously as men do usually take the rowing.
Sharon, would you agree with that?
I would agree to the extent that I think in the last few years there's a greater sense of people working together. There was greater rivalry in the past, and I think now with the Gara squad and that the two clubs are cooperating in the best for rowing.
Well, girls, thanks very much and good luck for the rest of the season.
Thank you.
Well, tomorrow